Hello everyone, I am here with Red Ice, and what is your name?
Henrick.
I am Cyrus, and
Nice
where
to
are
meet
you
you.
from?
I'm from Sweden originally.
Okay, beautiful. And I am Cyrus. I am from Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm originally from Southern California. My parents come from Iran. And despite that, I find it's a disgrace of what's happening to your people, not just in North America and Oceania, but especially in Europe. That is a disgrace. You guys have the right to preserve your culture.
Yep.
By the way, it's a culture that largely got influence from our people, Cyrus the Great.
It's an overlap for sure. Oh, yeah.
That's exactly my point.
Old ancient empires that
So,
share a common history.
tell me about it. So, the reason I wanted to talk to you is tell you a little bit about what's happening in Las Vegas. Now, you've been talking about what's happening in Germany, in some parts of America, but people don't know that Las Vegas has been hit hard by the immigration. And that's my number one concern living there. It is so bad. So let's give a little history lesson. In the 1980s, it was a town, cowboy town, run by the mob, the early casinos of Frank Sinatra. Then
The Italian mob?
Well, some say it was Jews, Mormons, a lot of different things.
Yeah, right.
Then the corporations took it over, and we saw these big mega hotels by Steve Wynn. By the way, Wynn endorsed Donald Trump. But what it led to is a massive flow of cheap labor from the Philippines and Mexico. And what are the unintended consequences? Well, certainly a lot of them don't speak good English. The service has changed. There's language barriers. Schools are overcrowded.
Yeah.
We are number one in students that have parents who are illegally in this country. And we're just seeing all this spread out development. So like an older area changes demographically, and then people move out to Henderson and Summerlin, all the long commutes, and then they complain, oh, we're building enough homes, we don't have enough water. Yeah, but you keep importing people into your country.
Right.
And then here's the sick irony about this. In Las Vegas, there are European-themed hotel and casinos, Bellagio, Caesar's Palace, Venetian, Excalibur. And yet, we don't have Europeans really working in these casinos.
Yeah.
I want to get a European experience. There's nothing wrong with that. And here's the sick part. These casino workers are part of a union, the Culinary Union, and they bust them like crazy. They don't check citizenship status. And this explains how we get Harry Reid and the blue wave we got in 2018.
Yeah.
So can you elaborate about what's going on? What do you think about the situation?
Well, I mean, sadly, that seems to be happening in many American cities, the big cities. I mean, I remember we were in Houston a while ago, and it was kind of the same thing there. I thought we'd see more cowboys and just like more, a totally different
It's only
type
like
of environment and
33%
culture.
white.
Yeah, so I think Houston is slated to become one of the most diverse. I think it already is actually one of the most diverse cities in America right now.
Well,
And
I think
had
it's
no
been
idea.
replaced.
By Las Vegas might
They
be neck and
replaced
neck,
the casino employment. They replaced California, and they're going to replace Las Vegas.
Yeah, that's it, and that's why we're speaking up against it. Obviously,
Oh my goodness!
it's a disaster, and it's a huge shame, and I don't know what to do to change that. But obviously, I think you told me yesterday that you're trying to get some voices heard in the local political scene. The town council was it you talked about? You said that they were largely
local
anti-white.
and state.
Yeah.
The state legislature. So as you know, Soros, Steyer, and of course Jim Murren of MGM Resorts, the buffoon who sold company stock in the Route 91 shooting to take away our guns, created this election result, and now they got all these DACAs and anchor babies, Latinos and Asians, these young people. They hire them and they lobby our legislature. I'm sometimes outnumbered like 20-1, and they keep playing the diverse and race card, pass laws to benefit us. It's just such a sham. And you think to yourself, how did this desert town end up this way?
Sure.
So, but you have to understand that what's happening in Las Vegas is the same bullcrap that's happening in London, Paris, and Berlin. And I tell them that, and I tell them your policies are anti-white and anti-Persian. And they just get scared. I'm exposing their scams. The legislature runs away from me. I tell them, join in.
Is it white people on the
legislature? I think it's now 50%. It used to be 70%. And now it's the first female majority than any other state in the U.S. So all these Emily's List, Soros-funded organizations, and I'm telling you, I'm gonna pop this bubble because non-Europeans like me wake up to this scam and they realize the reason why they brought my parents into the U.S. wasn't about mainly strengthening America. It was about replacing you.
Absolutely.
And if that's the case, then I'm not supported. It's a one-sided deal. It's got to stop.
Well, we need people like you to help us speak out, and you know, the more people that see and can observe the arguments and the concerns that we have, show that they're legitimate, the better it is. So have you gotten any good response? Like, are they more prone to listen to someone who's not white that comes in and talks to them about these things?
Good question, but they still call me racist, Nazi, all this kind of BS, and the reason why I moved to Las Vegas was because I wanted a new way of architecture and building and designing cities. That's what American Renaissance should also be about. New way of art, music, everything. And I wanted largely European influenced styles. And I want to see white children playing in the neighborhoods. Because America's influenced by European culture.
For sure.
But what's going to happen? It's going to be a lot of those foreign Asian buyers, and I'm going to be like, I don't feel comfortable. And this is...
I know.
I'm frightened.
I agree totally. That's why we're fighting, and we're trying to turn things both in Europe at the same time, and in America it's a large battle to fight. But obviously, you know, we got to begin somewhere, and it's small voices right now that are speaking up, but it's a growing movement, and so you know you shouldn't be disheartened. It's good that you're there, and you should keep fighting.
And
we appreciate the fact that you're speaking out on our behalf as well, because I think it does help. I think both our fellow white people to see the concerns that they are legitimate. You know, so whatever little support that we can get is essential and vital at this point, because there's a window of opportunity before this. You know, politically, we're just going to be outvoted totally, basically. Right?
Well, that's what's about to happen in Nevada, or sort of happened, and
so it's a test case right there.
And the worst example in America is the state I was living for 25 years in California. Where it's just a lot worse. And
your parents came in, you said? They're the ones that immigrated to the States?
Yes, and they live in California. And they're still accepting the fact that it's the greatest state in the U.S. But given my background, I'm going to pop this anti-white bubble.
Well, we need your help. We appreciate it,
Because, and I think you guys need to do things more locally too. Hopefully you'll grow. You have an office in Las Vegas, do some organizing. I will also promote your organizations with large banners and signs. Because, my gosh, Las Vegas, is it going to be replaced? Are you for real?
Yeah, well, this is what happens. And right now, if people don't wake up, then there's going to be cities that are replaced, counties, and you're going to have white flight as a consequence on these areas as well. And, you know, from that, we have to show an example. And then what's going to happen to Las Vegas? Is the service going to be there? Is it still going to be a pleasant experience? Or is that going to change as a consequence as well? And hopefully people wake up from that, you know? So it's an experiment. It's an open-air petri dish, essentially. And most of the people don't know what the consequences are, because they've been sold a lie that we're all equal and it doesn't matter what culture you come from. And
well, you have to understand the situation.
Even, so, you know.
Las Vegas in the 90s and 2000s was the fastest growing metro. And the politicians kept saying, oh, we're growing. Well, what they're doing is they're flooding all these literally Asians and Hispanics into their cities, and even blacks too, because the blacks got gentrified in California. So that's how they export their problems. And then I meet some black guys, they smell like marijuana, and it's just, oh my gosh, they overflow our apartment complexes, and I have to literally live on the far end of the city to get away from everything, and all the long commutes. And then they say, oh, white people, they drive too much, they live so far away. Yeah, because...
For a reason, of course. They're
because you're creating the environment, and then these big cities have all the high taxes that we all have to pay for. They're actually threatening to raise our taxes. Meanwhile, they're not trying to tax those remittances that these Latinos and Asians send abroad. Maybe they should pay for the public schools that they ruined.
Oh, no, absolutely. I mean, it's like do you know if most of the workers are under the table, or are they actually, is it illegal workers in these casinos?
I hate to say it, despite the fact we're an inland state, we are #1 in illegal alien employment.
So most of that's been exposed to. Most of that money actually ends up in the pockets of those people. They send it out to their countries, whatever they come from, and
Western unions everywhere.
Yeah, they're not contributing to the tax pool and all that stuff. So, but anyway, I thank you for your
thank you so much. Great pleasure.
Thank you.
Let's get together.
Sure, man.
Get out there and fight. European people is a blessing to the world. They've improved my life. If they go, the whole world is going to go to hell. Okay? It's about time we wake up.